Who is your favorite couple in all of fiction, and why? Anne and Gilbert Blythe. Gilbert always loves her but respects her friendship when she doesn't want anything romantic. When they finally do become a couple, they are completely whole people with so much love and respect for each other and show their love every chance they get. We get to see their development from immature kids to adults who build a life together. So good. This was my first thought when I saw this thread. I especially loved the way Anne and Gilbert's story was woven into their children's stories in the later books, showing their happiness long into their lives. Instead of a quick happily ever after at the end of a book, we actually got to see them live through their many years of marriage, good and bad, and love each other through it all. I can't believe nobody is talking about Hal and Lois from Malcolm in the Middle. Their love for each other is so damn sweet, especially the fact that they're still so sexually attracted to each other after being married for so long, having 5 kids, etc. Janet and Jason Mendoza. He's a dipshit with a heart of gold and she's an all-knowing eye who learned emotions through his genuine good-heartedness. The two of them are adorable. And then you have Chitty and Eleanor who just make me cry all the time when I think about them. Morticia and Gomez Adams. Even years after marrying, their love for one another burns intensely. Never dysfunctional, abusive or adulterous. Unlike other so-called couples in fiction, they got the romance thing down. My darling, how long has it been since we danced? Oh, Gomez, hours. Roger and Jessica Rabbit. There's a level of trust between them that is just amazing. When Roger saw the patty cake pictures, apart from running off, he knew that she couldn't have participated willingly, and it turned out to be true. While, at the same time, Jessica fell in love with Roger due to personality alone, and not money, or a chance to get famous. It was because he made her laugh. She even put herself on the line when Roger's boss forced her to do the pictures under the threat of blacklisting Roger from acting because she knew he loved his job. Gomez and Morticia Adams. I mean, they adore each other. Their passion for each other is crazy. They love their children. They support each other through thick and thin. Is there anyone who actually loved their spouses more than they love each other? I think not. Plus they're just so damn classy. Hard to find a better couple. Dr. Cox and Jordan. They are so well written and we see two people who had troubles like anyone but they lived through that and became even closer. That's about people who may be seen wrong by everyone else but they are right for each other. Good one. I agree. They drive each other crazy but true love is stronger than that. It's the fact that they love each other because of, and not in spite of their crazy that makes them so lovable. Taking it to a different direction. Jake Peralta and Charles Boyle. Jake and Charles embody very different types of masculinity but are usually very supportive. Jake clearly is appreciative of their friendship and Charles, while initially a bit sycophantic, gets strong character development and fatherhood and grows to be able to chastise Jake while being friends with him. Another, the Sherlock Watson friendship. It's displayed really well in books, film, or TV. Obviously there's the original from the books and various spin-offs, then there's the movies, then shows like House and Wilson instead of Holmes and Watson, or the wonderful show Sherlock. I'm not saying it's healthy, but damn if it ain't fun. Zoe and Walsh from Firefly. It seemed to have come naturally. At first they didn't like each other but as they got to know each other they built their love. I think they are the embodiment of soulmates aren't found, they're made. Valerie and Miracle Max from The Princess Bride. They are such a great old couple who have been married for years, bicker constantly, but still obviously love each other and even have their own rhythm and banter. This is the type of couple me and my soul strive to become, but we're having a little trouble with the magic. I'm not a witch, I'm your wife. No, but seriously, you chose my all-time favorite movie. I like you. My favorite part of being married is getting to say that to my husband whenever I want. Rigby and Eileen from Regular Show. Nerdy, awkward and introverted girl meets a highly extroverted idiot and builds a beautiful, realistic relationship that ended with them marrying each other and getting busy. I was looking for this. Honestly, one of my favorite fictional couples of all time. Their relationship is pretty wholesome and adorable, and it led to one of my favorite storylines on the show too. Moist Von Lipwig and Adorable Spike Deerheart, Discworld. They're playful with each other in their own way, and yet clearly work to maintain the rhythm of the relationship, keeping one another on their toes. Best of friends and also married couple. Close behind them is Sam and Sybil Vimes, same series. Sam and Sybil are great, but Adorable and Moist have the advantage of being young and fun. Moist is such an interesting character. I think I was 30 pages in before I was rooting for Rincewind. Maybe 20 pages before I was a die-hard fan of Vimes, but everyone loves Moist right away, like 3 paragraphs in, and he's a criminal, a con man. His character is that he preys on people who like him. For me, best couple on the disc is Carrot and Angua. Elizabeth Bennet and Fitzwilliam Darcy. She called the man out on his bullshit and pretension, and he actually listened. Devoted himself to bettering himself without the hope of ever seeing her again. Then later, when chance and circumstance bring them together again, he actually has mended his ways and become a better person. At the same time, she actually listened to what he had to say and bettered herself as well, realizing she was guilty of some of the same or similar faults she accused him of. In the end, they both are better people because of it. I can't decide between Roy Mustang and Riza Hawkeye and Sokka and Suki. They both have great chemistry and are super loyal to one another, though extra points go to Sokka and Suki because the way his face lit up when he recognized Suki without her Kyoshi warrior makeup was just adorable. I love Atlas so much. On top of just being a great show, I think they write those relationships really well. Perrin and Katrina from The Inheritance Cycle. Perrin literally crosses a country to get his kidnapped wife back, and rouses an entire town to come with him. It's also mentioned that Katrina would do the same, despite the story being set in a time when women aren't supposed to be strong. But don't worry, there are plenty of badass women in the series. Gambit and Rogue. It's a relationship that can, not sure if this has changed in the years, only be based off their love for each other. They're married now. At first they made it work with mutant power suppressing collars. Later on, his storyline explored the possibility of a mental block keeping Rogue from controlling it. The Rogue and Gambit miniseries followed by Mr. and Mrs. X is so freaking good. I definitely recommend them both. They're a good balance of romance and action, with some gorgeous art. They aren't really a couple, but I love Kelvin and Susie's subtle romance in Calvin and Hobbes. This strip is a pretty great representation of it, or this one, which admittedly only really makes sense in context. Calvin always seems to be picking on Susie. In fact, a lot of the time he's just downright bullying her, and she can be just as cruel sometimes. But on the other hand, they definitely are friends, at the very least. Grimm was my guilty pleasure when it was on. Yeah, it's formulaic and safe, but super enjoyable. I was absolutely enchanted by Monroe and Rosalie. I still have a crush on Bree Turner. Rosalie was so stinkin' adorable. Guess I should actually add why. They both seemed so down to earth. Neither was portrayed as the dominant person in their relationship. The show didn't turn Monroe into a dope to make Rosalie look good by comparison. Both make mistakes, get into arguments, and both rescue each other and their friends. Both have their own skills and weaknesses. They're capable of arguing, talking, and making up. They complement one another in a way where you can really say, I wish I had a relationship that compatible. They don't seem unbelievable as a couple, and personally, I just love Rosalie's story arc. She grows, leaving her past behind, and becoming a seriously awesome woman, Fox, who has heroism in her heart. But she's no Mary Sue. The showrunners don't demand that a tiny girl like Bree Turner beat the crap out of 200 pounds meant to look tough, cough looking at you Bitsy Taluk. Instead, she's sharp as a razor, a pro at seduction, and extremely empathetic. She steps in it a few times, gets beat up, and even manages to get herself kidnapped, but she doesn't surrender, and has a really admirable spunky spirit. It's enough to drive a yak crazy. Will Solis and Nico D'Angelo, because they are both sons of gods. Apollo is Will's father and Hades is Nico's. Both will do whatever it takes to protect their friends and family, and how can I not love the dynamic of a tall guy with a sunny disposition dating a short emo boy who has killed a man for just talking to his friend that's almost a sister to him the wrong way. Both have survived wars and danger every day of their lives, and will Nico always getting hurt Will has all the time in the world with him since he is the head medic at their camp. I know most people won't get this reference, but I adore Thaniel and Maury in the book The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. Their love was all about encouraging each other and making each other's lives bigger than they would have been separately. They were so dang good for each other. I'm not sure who my favorite is, but if I had to put together a top 3, just based off of what I can remember, and I'm probably gonna get incinerated for what I'm about to say, but Chandler and Monica from Friends, Jesse and Becky, I think those are their names, from Full House, and Bob and Helen from The Incredibles. Least favorite, however, is easily Donovan and Donna from EXO. Has anyone here read that book? Elizabeth Bennet and Fitzwilliam Darcy. They are not your traditional couple. They each start off so standoffish and end up each seeing the flaws in their own logic. Then they get together and work so wonderfully. One of my favorite Pride and Prejudice quotes is, "I cannot fix on the hour, or the spot, or the look, or the words, which laid the foundation. It is too long ago. I was in the middle before I knew that I had begun." This is where Elizabeth describes when she fell in love with Mr. Darcy. Surprised nobody has mentioned Jim and Pam, or Michael and Holly. Nah, Reddit hates Jim and Pam. They were already one of the top answers in the least favorite characters thread, which I don't get personally, but whatever. Never really thought of Michael Holly as a good or bad couple, just pretty forgettable. Sybil and Sam vibes. Love isn't at first sight, preordained, easy, free, or something you only get when you're young. You work at it. You have doubts. You have worries. You have second thoughts, but you work at it. You consider the options and you keep coming back to it. You care for your partner so they can lead you through the darkness and vice versa. When you are surrounded by men who are going to die and you need reassurance that there will be a future and that there is a space for you in it, you cling to the silver cigar holder she gave you and fight like hell. Leslie and Ben from Parks and Rec. I like you and I love you. They have such a strong friendship and respect for each other, and they are adorable nerds. Also, Naoko Yamada and Jiro Ueda from the Japanese comedy drama Trick, a magician and a physicist that solve mysteries together. They are both ridiculous people, and are comically terrible to each other, but somehow it works. Castiel and Meg. Supernatural, Ash and his boomstick. Chainsaw, Ash v. Evil Dead, Sean and Juliet. Psych, Warden and Ma. Oregon, Dragon Age, Origin, Raven and Bastila. Coder, Pam and Jim. The Office. Your first answer had a couple quotes bouncing through my head. I learned it from the Pizza Man, Go Save My Unicorn, and both of them made me giggle a little, just like the first time I saw them. Monaco Q and E. Chandler and Friends. They were close friends for so long, and then when they got drunk and had a one-night stand, they decided to try and see how it would go. They then worked together to have a strong relationship, despite both their flaws, and they were strong throughout the rest of the show. I think Leslie Knope and Ben White is the best example of a healthy relationship on any TV show I've seen. You also have April and Dandy on that show too. Ron and Diane turn out to be a pretty good couple too. Forgetting that arc where Ann and Tom dated, most of the relationships in Parks and Rec are really great. Go old school here and say Hades and Persephone, only stable couple in mythology and actually really nice people. Aside from that whole Dread Queen Persephone stuff, everyone has bad days, But for a recent answer, how about Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy? Right from the beginning you see the perfect synergy in their personalities, the opposing yet complementary dance of stability and utter chaos. They see eye to eye, which is something few couples can truly keep up. And did I mention how fucking adorable they are? Scott Summers and Emma Frost. The origin of their relationship is a total hot mess disaster, but they're a rare comic couple that I think actually made each other stronger people. They didn't always bring out their best selves, but their real selves, until editorial smashed them. They were also incredibly supportive of one another. I loved them. This one's a tie, Rigby and Eileen from Regular Show. They had a wholesome and adorable relationship that led to Rigby wanting to better himself. Also Bob and Linda from Bob's Burgers. If I had to pick a relationship goals couple, it'd 100% be them. Not perfect, but they get along well and still love each other at the end of the day. Pam and Jim Halpert. I feel like it's not the average you'll meet and then instantly fall in love. It's a painstakingly long process of them getting together, and when they finally do, you can see the love pour out of them. They're amazing together. Cersei and Jaime Lannister. Their relationship is entertaining, and I love how obsessed they are with each other. Also, I'd kill to have a man as dedicated to me as Jaime is to her. When I was reading the books, I said something to my husband about how touching it was the way Jaime loved Cersei. He looked at me like I'm a weirdo, but that's how he loves me. My S. Oh knows too and thinks I'm crazy lol. But he's pretty dedicated too. Nothing can top Jaime's dedication to Cersei though. I mean, if I killed thousands of people, I'm pretty sure my S. O would leave me. Frown Heckman and Yukino from Oregaro. I see a lot of myself in Heckman, and seeing his growth through the series gave me a small bit of hope I could work through some similar issues. I love the couple's dynamic, and can understand how difficult it is to say some things directly when they can't necessarily be conveyed in either a handful of words or even a full-on essay at times. Yeah, it's silly to think that way about a piece of fictional media, but a guy can dream, right? Also would be nice to actually be in a relationship, but who knows when that's going to happen. Jason and Eve from Blaster Master Zero. When Eve's in danger, Jason will risk his life every single time to save hers. Eve's bubbly aura and personality keep Jason going even when the going's tough. I can't believe nobody is talking about Hal and Lois from Malcolm in the Middle. Their love for each other is so damn sweet, especially the fact that they're still so sexually attracted to each other after being married for so long, having 5 kids, etc. Lois, of course, I love you more than you love me. If you love me as much as I love you, we'd never leave the bedroom. I love the episode where they can't have sex because of some medicine Lois is on or something, so for a few weeks they become the most productive people ever. Their hours become spotless, they have the best lawn on the block. Hal gets a giant promotion at work. Then when the medicine is done and they back to having sex, everything immediately falls apart again. I like Fitzsimmons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're pretty cute together and have a good story development. I like them a lot too. Brainiacs in love, and with all of their trauma too, their end was so meaningful. Yes, love those guys. Janet and Jason Mendoza. He's a dipshit with a heart of gold and she's an all-knowing eye who learned emotions through his genuine good-heartedness. The two of them are adorable. And then you have Chidi and Eleanor, who just make me cry all the time when I think about them. Chidi and Eleanor are the best. I love how their differences complement each other and how, in the end, they work so well together to try and fix the universe. Anne and Gilbert Blythe. Gilbert always loves her but respects her friendship when she doesn't want anything romantic. When they finally do become a couple, they are completely whole people with so much love and respect for each other and show their love every chance they get. We get to see their development from immature kids to adults who build a life together. So good. This was my first thought when I saw this thread. I especially loved the way Anne and Gilbert's story was woven into their children's stories in the later books, showing their happiness long into their lives, instead of a quick happily ever after at the end of a book. We actually got to see them live through their many years of marriage, good and bad, and love each other through it all. Grim was my guilty pleasure when it was on. Yeah, it's formulaic and safe, but super enjoyable. I was absolutely enchanted by Monroe and Rosalie. I still have a crush on Bree Turner. Rosalie was so stinkin' adorable. Edit, guess I should actually add why. They both seemed so down to earth. Neither was portrayed as the dominant person in their relationship. The show didn't turn Monroe into a dope to make Rosalie look good by comparison. Both make mistakes, get into arguments, and both rescue each other and their friends. Both have their own skills and weaknesses. They're capable of arguing, talking, and making up. They complement one another in a way where you can really say, I wish I had a relationship that compatible. They don't seem unbelievable as a couple,